This is the vegan anarchist. And then to mutualism. Anyways, let's start. Um, for a long time I was an ANCOM, but I came to realize that like mutualism is more practical to implement. I mean, not that I'm against anarcho-communism, because I do think anarcho-communism is like is a really good way of organizing society and your way of doing politics and economics. But I find that as I was mainly an anarchist first, then a communist at the time. At least consider myself that way. And what happened was I slowly read articles from the Center for a Stateless Society, listened to some podcasts on mutualism, and I came to change my position on like market abolitionism and became a mutualist. No, I've no as a mutualist now. I have no gripes with anarcho-communists, and I do think that mutualism could be a stepping stone to anarcho-communism if you look at it towards a dialectical way. Hey, Aspen. So, like mutualism, to those who don't know what mutualism is based off of the ethics of reciprocity, and mutualism is about well, they're socialists, but unlike the ANCOMs, mutualists tend to have markets, and it tends to be the goods tend to be distributed based off of markets, also, and according to needs, not needs, but like then each according to ability, each according to a contribution. And the idea of mutualism is that workers should get paid the full market of their value, full value of their labor. And mutualists point out that the reason why workers don't get the full product of labor is because we have a class dominated by capitalists. But the question is, why is our society dominated by capitalists? And a lot of mutualists point out, from Benjamin Tucker to Proudhon, that our economy, our quote, free market economy, is our capitalist economy what we have now, has state sanctioned privileges, like as Benjamin Tucker pointed out, the patent monopoly. We have we have tariffs, especially in Trump days. We have intellectual property, and we have the money monopoly, the land monopoly, and then we also have rare. We also have subsidies for transportation, which artificially cheapens the price of Walmart. Well, because what happens, it was just a net subsidy in corporations like Walmart, because Walmart uses has more tear on the roads, but don't pay more, proportionally speaking. And following the market anarchist to free market anti-capitalist analysis, I came to the conclusion that while I do think anarcho-communism is a desirable outcome, I think mutualism is more approachable to most people and easier to practice and to persuade people into doing, because mutualism, well, we know that anarcho-communism can work because of the Spanish Civil War and the Zapatistas and Rojava. Well, Rojava is not ANCOM, but or neither Zapatista, but like for a lot of people, co-ops and mutual credit banks, which charge very low, barely any interest rates. People know a lot of the mutualist stuff, like competing currencies, are they're more familiar with that stuff and less resistant to that idea. Hello, permaculture food forest. So, as I came to realize that the market is that we've been having markets for like thousands of years, and markets well, markets don't cause most of the inequality we see nowadays. Most of it is because of privileges either by state or by the capitalist class, which is reinforced by the state, or patriarchy or racism slash white supremacy, etc., etc., etc. And if we remove the privileges from the state granted privileges and allow workers to own means of production, either collectively or individually, like all workers, we could undermine capitalism and have free market socialism or free market anti-capitalism. And fuck landlords too. Seriously, landlords are leeches on society. Hello, random geek. We're just talking about mutualism. So, as I listen to like people like Kevin Carson and Center for Stateless Society and Gary Chartier, and even reading some Tucker and Proudhon, not so much Proudhon, but Tucker and Spooner, and many of the mutuals and individuals anarchist traditions, I have kind of been influenced by now ways. I'm a socialist. Don't get me wrong, and I do accept markets, but I don't accept the rule of the capitalist class and state sanctioned privileges. Does anybody of you have any questions you want to ask? Any questions, anybody? And I'm gonna keep talking till I get something. No, since I have changed philosophies, I'm planning in a few weeks to make videos on mutualism and yeah, the only thing the 1% are afraid of is a mob showing up if they sleep. Yes, exactly. But like, they're also afraid of losing their privileges. Also, and of course, since we have thousands of years or hundreds of years of like privileges, if we just get rid of the state, it's not going to go away right away. Oh, hey, Aspen. Yeah, the Zapatistas is very, very successful. But if you talk to people in a communist sort of voice, first of all, they're gonna think Stalinism, they're gonna think Maoism, and so if you talk about mutualism, you just get a blank stare, and then you can just explain it. And something that both the left and the right can agree on without compromising, mutual aid and law of equal liberty and autonomy slash self ownership. And I don't see why mutualism can't be combined with syndicalism. Like, there's no rule against that. Like, in essence, just because and mutualism doesn't mean only markets. It can include gift economies and other ways of doing economics that are voluntary in exchange and non-hierarchical. And once we truly free the market and get rid of artificial property rights and even just replace our property system with occupancy and use, if we do that, the market will eat the rich. You heard me right. If we take away their privileges and their false property, including IP, which could result in one of the biggest transfer of wealth in recent American history from the rich to the poor, and establish mutual banks, we could finance the socialist revolution. And mutualism could be a strategy to resist capitalism using its own internal mechanism while also appealing to libertarians. Or the right libertarians would hate us, but like left libertarians are on our side when it comes to bosses. And honestly, I think it's more practicable go mutualist, and then from there we could go communist. All right, good night. See you, food forest permaculture. Anyways, this is the vegan anarchist. No meat, no milk, no masters. Mutualism, life, liberty, and the means of production. See ya. Hold on. Basis of of their system is decolonial and for equal world. Markets are corruptible. This is just working class revolution. All revolutions are bottomless circles. Yes, exactly. And mutualism is can be done by bottom up. It's designed to be. So anyway, see ya.